JB, we got AI cameras in here today.
Yeah. You're being tracked. Here, try it. Move around a little bit.
Ooh. You know what? For this show, I'm going to change my name.
What's it going to be?
Scott.
Scott? Me and 3 Scotts on the show? I can't. 2 Scotts is enough as is. We got guests, everybody.
From the Stream Center, this is the Rondé Barber Show, sponsored by Advent Health and Renewal by Andersen. Here's your host, JB Buno, and Hall of Famer Rondé Barber.
Week 16 of the Rondé Barber Show. Week 9, post Rondé Barber Show. And my fellow Bucs faithful, I sit here today. A Pro Football Hall of Famer, a Bucs Ring of Honor member, a resident badass host of the Rondé Barber Show. And we're going to do a little State of the Union. The highs, we've seen flashes of vintage Buck football, the hard-nosed defense, disciplined play, and a team that refuses to quit. Seen the lows, inconsistency, missed opportunities, and a few head-scratching moments that have fans wondering which Bucs team will show up on Sunday. Today, it's not about the hype, though. It's about honesty. We're going to break down where this team is delivered, where it's fallen short, and whether the 2025 Buccaneers are contenders, pretenders, or somewhere in between. And while I say that, let me introduce my esteemed panel of Scotts. Scott Smith, senior writer and editor, 34 years on the job. My man knows everything about the Bucs. And Scott Reynolds, vice president and publisher, and another old man, 30 years on the job, as a beat reporter for the Pewter Report. Scott's, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are in here, man.
Appreciate it, Rondé.
Yeah.
Looking forward
what do you
to
think of our gig, the Stream Center here?
It's fantastic.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on.
You have the budget the Pewter Report doesn't have. That's for sure.
We got big backers here at WFLA. Next Star, thank you for the Rondé Barber Show. And our sponsor, Advent Health and Renewal by Andersen. Oh, God. Before we get started here, just give me you guys' quick. We're at the bye. We're coming off the bye. So going into week 9, big game this week, which we'll talk about the New England Patriot game here in a minute. But give me your best observations from the first 8 weeks of this Bucs season. Start with Scott Reynolds because he's the farthest away from me.
I would say that the Buccaneers are playing with some house money. That's how I look at this right now. I had the team at 5 wins heading into the bye week, so I think they're 1 game ahead of schedule. Had them finishing 11-5. I think 6-3 is doable down the stretch. That leads you to what? 12 wins. Right. And as long as this team can get healthy and stay healthy, I think that's really the important thing. I love the way the defense is playing as of late. Sacks, pressures, takeaways more than anything. The Bucs are +7 in the turnover margin. I remember talking to Baker Mayfield in training camp. I was trying to give him his flowers and prop him up a little bit. Baker, you're in year 2 of this offense. Different coordinator, but same system, same cast of characters around you. 4,500 yards last year, 41 touchdowns. How do you feel about the comfortability going into year 2? And he's like, I got to cut down on my turnovers.
That's one thing he said. Yeah.
It's the only thing he cared about. And, he's done that. He's limited his turnovers. The Buccaneers were -6 in turnover margin last year. Only playoff team that had a minus in the turnover category last year. And I think that was a big reason why they had the first-round exit.
Right.
They lost the turnover battle that game against the tight game against the Commanders. But this year it's a different story. The defense is getting the ball out, and the offense is protecting it. And they've also learned how to win close games. Last year, losing at Atlanta in overtime, losing at Kansas City in overtime, the 23-20 walk-off field goal by the 49ers. Now those games kind of flipped. Right. The Bucs are winning close games.
I knew I asked the right guy first. Scott, match that.
Oh, he will. He will.
Well, I like Scott's final point there the best. I would have included that as well. Yeah. Just the fact that the Buccaneers are making the plays on both sides of the ball down the stretch. In those games, you think about the Atlanta game that got it all started. Not only did you have the big play on offense with Emeka Egbuka with the touchdown, but then the Antoine Winfield hit. That probably would have been a touchdown to save that game defensively. But my big picture look at this is I don't think we're getting the scenario we were promised a couple months ago. So you say we get to the bye week in good shape, and 5-3 would have been in good shape. 6-2 is great.
Yep.
And then you go into the bye, you start to get some of your guys back, and in the second half your offense is an absolute wagon with Mike, Chris, Emeka, Jalen McMillan, and we're not going to get that.
That's right.
We're not. It's simply we have to stop waiting for that to happen because it's not going to happen.
Great point.
Yep.
Emeka's there. Mike's maybe back at the end of the season. Chris is hopefully back within a couple weeks, but he's still going to know.
Right.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
And then Jalen McMillan is a complete question mark. So it makes it a little more impressive what Baker's doing.
No doubt.
With Sterling Shepard, Emeka in and out a little bit, Tez Johnson, K. Dotton.
Right.
So we're going to have to win games in a variety of ways, including like we just did in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I know New Orleans isn't the toughest opponent, but they won that game with defense and special teams. And we're going to have to win more games than I expected that way. So I agree. It's not the second half Buccaneers that I think we were promised, but it's going to be interesting.
You know what this makes it? A pretty fun ride.
Yeah,
This has been a fun season. I mean, obviously, you guys know the ins and outs. I know the ins and outs. I watched all the games.
Yeah.
But from a fan perspective, this has been a fun team to watch this year.
No
Just the way that we won the opening game, right?
Yeah.
Where Emeka Egbuka jumps onto the scene, has that touchdown with a minute left in the game, and then just his ascension matched with what was the MVP hype of Baker for however many weeks that was. I mean, yes, he's been kind of off for the last couple of weeks, which we can all agree that this bye week is probably going to help him.
Sure.
But they've just been fun to watch. Like, you want to go to the stadium and watch these dudes play right now. And I think, yes, they had a great year last year. This feels like a team that could win any game, right?
Yeah.
Also feels like they could have lost a couple of games.
There's no doubt about it. What I like about this team is last year we saw from week one that 37-point outburst against Washington. The offense wore the superhero cape all last year. Mm-hmm. If they didn't score 30 points, probably a Bucs loss, right? The defense at no point in time had the superhero cape. They were injured. They weren't making plays. 7 interceptions in 18 games?
Right.
I mean, it was ridiculous, including the playoff game. This year, we're seeing the defense come to play, and they're tugging on that cape saying, hey, let us wear this too.
Right.
And that's what you want to see, complementary football, where it's not all on the offense. We saw in that Week 5 game at Seattle, Todd Bowles' defense couldn't stop Sam Darnold till the very end. 38 points to 35 was the final score. We had to see the offense come through that game. Offense couldn't even get a yard and punch the ball into the end zone until, the 9th try in New Orleans? And it took the defense winning that game. So I like the fact that either side of the ball can show up on any given week because they're going to need that, as Scott said.
Right. I talk about complementary football all the time. People don't really understand what it means. Complementary football is, say, defense gets the ball back, offense scores, right? It's not like both sides of the ball playing great at the same time.
Exactly.
It is literally one job getting done by one side of the ball, and then the other job getting done by the opposing side of the ball. So, this team for most of the year has not really played complementary football.
Right.
They've done some magical things.
It's been one or the
other.
other.
It's been one or the other. And I think if I'm asking myself a serious question, is that good enough to win down the stretch? And I don't know. We got two games coming up.
Yeah.
Right? New England, who was surprisingly really good.
Yeah.
And Buffalo.
Well, I think the Rams, too. I think it's 3 in a row.
3 in a row, right.
Yeah.
I'm not on the Rams yet. I'm not ready for that 8:20 game yet on Sunday night, whatever that is. But the next two are really, really important.
Yeah.
And it has to be complementary football. And I think we could all agree with that.
You got to throw in the special teams on that, too.
True. Absolutely.
If you look, I keep referring to the New Orleans game because it's a recent thing, but in the second half there, after the one touchdown, it was the defense kept getting the ball back in great field position, but the offense couldn't do a whole lot.
That's exactly right.
And then Chase McLaughlin.
That's not complementary football, right?
Unless
That's not complementary football.
Yeah, but I mean, the special teams picked it up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening early in the season, of course. And now, in some of these games, look at this New England game coming up. If it's another one of these close games down to the wire, that's turning on a single play here or there. Defense, special teams could be the difference because New England has really good special teams so far this year, and the Buccaneers struggled but are getting in track.
Let's introduce the fourth man to this group. JB, you haven't said a thing yet.
Hi.
I just feel like I just walked into an encyclopedia of Bucs knowledge. And it's actually really, for our listeners, whether you're on one of our podcast platforms or you're watching here on YouTube, say hello in the YouTube comments below. It would be great to hear from you. We love to see the YouTube comments after the show. Actually, they've been kind to us, Scott.
None of the shows I do have comments on the bottom, so I'm not used to this.
Let me tell you this.
I'm not ready for this.
When the Bucs are doing well,
Yeah.
our commenters
Right,
are doing
right,
well.
right.
That's the big thing. But as this is, this is very interesting because we're here with a Hall of Famer. We're here with two of the
Two
most
Hall of Famers, right? Two Hall of Fame guests right here.
I've been to the
and
Hall of
two
Fame.
Hall of Fame guests. Encyclopedias of Bucs knowledge, and this being coming off the bye week, a good opportunity for us to assess the Bucs and where they are midway through the season. We're going to do a state of the Bucs for our audience and break this down by group. And where we are going to start with Rondé, Mr. Scott Smith, Mr. Scott Reynolds, joining us here in the Stream Center on the Rondé Barber Show. We're going to start with offense. We're talking about Baker Mayfield. We're talking about Josh Grizzard, his first season as the offensive coordinator for the Bucs, and of course, we're talking about noteworthy next man up type players that have really filled roles that they weren't expected to fill when the season began. So, Rondé, why don't we start with you? Your assessment of the Buccaneers' offense so far through the 2025 NFL season.
I think we miss Bucky. The run game is certainly not what it has been with him being out.
Correct.
And that's not a slight on Rashad, right? And it's not a slight on Sean Tucker. He's just different, right? The offense moves different without Bucky in it. So far this year, I think we've seen the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs, if you will, of Josh Grizzard. Like at the beginning of the year, I think he was just trying to rely on some of the heroics that Baker provided.
Yeah.
There was a minute there, over 2 or 3 game stretch, where I thought he really found his rhythm. It was fun watching him call plays, and he was setting things up. You could tell one play was leading into the other. The run game was effective, even if it wasn't explosive. The last 2 games, I had a couple question marks.
Yeah.
Like, you said it already.
Yeah.
The 4 runs in a row down at the 1 yard line.
I have no problem with that, though. I have no problem with that. You need to get a yard,
Right.
And honestly, that's on the offensive line. That's a man card thing,
Right.
I'm just being serious,
Right.
You have to get a yard. Tristan Wirfs, Ben Bredesen, Graham Barton. That's supposedly the strength of this unit. It's on you. You need to get a yard. I have no problem. I would call 4 straight runs behind those guys.
That's fair.
And if you don't get it, then it's on the offensive line. And you ask Tristan, Ben, and Graham, and they'll tell you it's on them. So I've got no problem. Fans were criticizing the play calling in New Orleans about that. You need 1 yard, and I don't have a problem with that. But what I will say about Josh Grizzard is I felt he was going to be somewhere between Dave Canales and Liam Cohen. Better than Dave, but maybe not as good as Liam out of the gate. Liam had 2 years worth of play calling experience at what I call NFL Junior. That's SEC.
Yeah.
Right. When he was at Kentucky, he had to go up against LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee.
Yep. And
With
they set passing records.
with mediocre talent.
With mediocre talent, right.
So I think he was going to be further ahead, but I think Josh is pretty bright. What I like about Josh is I can't guess what's coming.
Yes.
I could with Byron Leftwich all day long, okay? And at times Dave, like when he would get 12 or 13 personnel, like I knew it was coming, right? But I don't know sitting in the press box or home on my couch. I don't know what I'm going to see from Josh Grizzard, and I like that unpredictability about him. And you have to go look at this offensive line. It has been a reshuffled deck from week 1. And
experimental.
Yes, and what he's been able to do, I mean, you got to remember, all 5 of those offensive linemen were pretty much intact all of last year for Liam Cohen. And now, at best, it's going to be 4 out of the 5. Cody's not coming back.
Not back this year.
And they've already had 3 different right guards.
5.
And,
5.
That's true. That's true.
Started
Yeah.
5 guys at right guard.
Right.
Yeah. So it's what I'm saying is now they've got essentially 3 to kind of choose from, right? Whether it's Feeney, whether it's Mike Jordan, or whether it's Luke Haggard who comes back. So to me, that's been the biggest thing. I've been amazed with what this rookie play caller can do with half a hand to play with.
Yeah, I mean, we're grading a bit on a curve here, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we don't have the same explosive numbers as last year, but you wouldn't expect that with the lineup. A couple of things that have stood out to me. One, I think where he stood out and been the most impressive is in these clutch moments, in these crunch time moments, where he has impressed Baker and the rest of the offense with how calm he is and how much in control he is, and that is filtered down to Baker himself.
Right.
And then also I think you have a guy that's finding himself a little bit after the Detroit game when we threw 50 passes. And I know a lot of that was game dependent, right?
Yeah.
But
Chasing
they came out and said, we can't throw 50 passes.
That's right.
And we go to New Orleans, and the run game really wasn't working all that well, but he stuck with it. And I think that was a conscious effort we're going to run the ball. We need to run the ball.
That's
and
right.
I don't know, sometimes that can be a mistake, there were times in recent years where our passing game was so good and we'd be insistent on running the ball. I'm like, why bother?
Right. Why
bother? But I think with the personnel that we have, and especially when we get Bucky back, that this team is going to need to be balanced on offense, and he's working on that. He's working towards that.
The one thing I will say about him, which I love about him, is his confidence.
Yes,
he exudes it on. You see it on the sideline.
That's right.
It's not like
he's unflappable.
It's not like he's looking at his play sheet like, oh my God, what do I got to call? It's
right.
like,
hands are shaking.
He's like, boom, and you see him just relaying the call, and you see that it translates to the other side of to the players on the field. Yeah. He comes to the sideline, and it's immediate his interaction with his quarterback, with whoever he has to talk to. So I think in that regard, he's way ahead of the curve.
I'm going to give Todd Bowles a lot of credit for that, because Todd has spent a lot of time, and Todd's been a bit of an OC whisperer now, right? He's had to do this with Liam
over and over.
Canales, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Kingmaker.
He is. The running joke is Todd and Jason don't know where Mobile, Alabama is anymore. Right. Instead of being at the Senior Bowl scouting players, they're finding offensive coordinators. So,
to be fair, nobody really wants to go to Mobile, Alabama.
That's true.
It's the worst place I've ever been in my life.
It's not that bad.
Wow. It's terrible.
They have good barbecue. But I digress. I'll just say this. I think that the cues that he gets from cool, calm, collected Todd Bowles really help, because Todd has spent, going back to training camp, a lot of time with him, developing him and saying, hey, this is what I would do to attack your offense as a defensive mind. And I think that's been invaluable.
Right.
I think Todd Bowles doesn't get enough credit for rapidly developing Dave Canales, Liam Cohen, and Josh Grizzard.
I can draw a parallel between Liam Cohen and Josh Grizzard. When Liam first got here, the first thing he said, and he repeated it over and over again, is we got to get the run game going. And this is a team that had finished last 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It's nice to say that, but come on, are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah.
And he did. He 100% did. I think we were fifth maybe in rushing.
Yes.
This year, one of the main points that Josh was making before the season was, I want to get more explosive plays.
That's right.
So we had this great offense. You can't complain about last year's offense. The
That's right.
results were
Not at all.
fantastic. But it was a lot of yak.
Yes.
And they were fantastic at it. They
Yep.
were second in the league to Detroit in yak, and that's how they got it done.
That's right.
And we still want to do that. But Josh wanted to add in a more explosive downfield element so that you have more ways you can win. Last couple weeks, that's been tough.
Right.
But before that, Baker was among the league leaders in quarterbacks of completions down the field.
That's
and
right.
so he, just like Liam followed through on getting that run game going, Josh said he was going to get more explosive down plays, and then he did it.
Right. That's
Great point.
Great point. Great point. We sit here and we wonder, whether or not this offense can continue to do what it's done, because some of it was improbable to start the year, right? It was just like, holy cow, like, is this real? And then we talked about, JB and I talked about this last week. Like I always say, are you hot or is this really your game? Like, is this how you are really going to play the entire year?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we are. We no Mike Evans, right? No Chris Godwin. You got Tez Johnson. You got Cameron Johnson, who, by the way, came out of nowhere.
That one game.
Like nowhere.
Saved our bacon
Like,
in
I
that
remember in
one
the
game.
preseason saying this guy's not going to make the team.
Yeah.
Right.
He's hurt all the time, and he made the team, and all of a sudden he's as invaluable a player as there is in a wide receiver room. And then you got like Sterling Shepard. So we were going to move this conversation to the point of guys that had to step up. In my mind, Sterling Shepard has been
No doubt.
number one pick, Emeka Ibuka, obviously.
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
Do what he's going to do.
Yep.
He's having a great year. But Sterling Shepard's been the glue to me.
I agree with that.
Because he has made so
No
many
doubt.
key plays, and it's not like go into the season every year. Sterling Shepard's going to get cut right before camp.
That's right.
Just because of salary cap considerations and don't want to guarantee his salary. The guy is, to me, the most valuable player in that wide receiver room.
Especially since he's the only healthy veteran right now, really.
Right.
And not that Chris can't talk to these guys, whatever, but in the huddle, Shepard is that guy, right? They can look at those young receivers in there and kind of calm them down, or give them like, hey, we got to do this on this play, or we might see this look. He can give those little in the huddle adjustments that they can make. More importantly, he was healthy all training camp. Remember, he was hurt last year.
Yep.
And then he had pulled a hamstring, and he had drops, and he had a lot of penalties, right? This year, I just think he's a better player. He's healthy.
Right.
He knows the system.
It's hard to say that. He's only been in the league.
Right. He's 32 years old.
Yeah.
But he's having a better season in so many different areas that he did last year. And you're right. He has been the saving grace for this passing game.
If only he were willing to speak up a little bit.
I know. Come out of his shell a little bit, right?
I remember who do we scrimmage with this year? The
Steelers.
Steelers.
Yeah.
That practice, the Steelers were getting after us a little bit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the littlest dude in the room, 5'10", 190-pounder, just starts going, right? And it that energy that he brings, it's awesome for your
you
team.
You make me sad bringing that up, though, because Jalen McMillan looked so good that day.
I know.
You brought me down with that.
Yeah.
I will say this. With Tez Johnson almost being like the younger version of Sterling Shepard, to have Sterling as the mentor for Tez Johnson is everything going forward.
It makes for some good sideline shots for our content, content on Buccaneers.com.
Yes.
Tez Johnson, man, he was inactive in the second week of the season. It was just, hey, we don't need him for this game. And then he stepped up really well. I mean, he's getting you like 5 catches.
Oh, there's no
You didn't
doubt.
expect 5 catches for 45 yards from him. And I love it. I love everybody constantly saying he can make guys miss in a phone booth. And then you see him do stuff like that. But I also think this guy's probably never even seen a phone booth. He doesn't know what they're talking
We
about.
old timers know what phone booths are.
But he does make guys miss in very tight quarters.
Right.
You know, he's 160 pounds, and that is the outlier. Yeah. Well, he said, "I'm finally at 160." He was proud of that. You know, but when he was drafted, he was like in the 150s. But if I was 160, I would absolutely not want to get hit. Right?
True.
I think he plays football like it's flag football. Like, don't get my flag. Like he can't get hit.
Right.
And so therefore, it's primal for him. It's survival. Like, I can't get tackled.
Now, Cam Johnson's not the same.
No, Cam's built like a running back.
People think he's small.
No, he is not small.
He's thick.
He's 194.
He saved us in that game with those passes over the middle.
49ers game.
Yeah, the 49ers game. Those were plays that Mike Evans would have been making.
Right.
And he's not the same type of body as Mike Evans, but he was making those catches.
I
over
think
the
I
middle,
wrote
taking
down
hits.
after that game, I think I wrote down in my notes, I was like, Cam Johnson could be a poor man's version of Chris Godwin, because he made some of those key catches
and you know what?
out of the slot, like through some traffic.
And you know what? He hasn't really seen the ball since then. And I'm a little disappointed that, because if I'm being honest, I've had some prop bets that haven't hit. You know, I mean, they're pretty enticing when it's like,
I have not, to be clear.
the over-under is like 9.5 yards. I'm like, okay, sure. But, you know.
Yeah, I said huge finisher, play 15 to 19. Could be a poor man's Chris Godwin. Right?
Well, let's see.
I'd
Let's
like
get
to
him the
see,
ball.
Yeah.
We're not going to grade all these sections of the show, but it sounds like the offense has been filled with some pleasant surprises.
Yeah.
I think that would be a nice bumper sticker, right, on the offense thus far. And we have faith that the offense is going to continue to roll.
I think it's going to be up and down.
I agree. I think the defense is going to have to win the day sometimes with that superhero game.
Right.
They're going to have to. It's going to be more Saints games in the second half of the stretch. I agree.
Right. I think there's going to be some gritty games, like including this week. This
Against-
is going to be
against
a
New England.
gritty game this week.
All right, as we move on to the defense. The Buccaneers defense, always under the microscope, because Todd Bowles, who we see right here on your screen in just a second, is always graded on how his defense is performing. So, look, you can look at a lot of the statistics, but let's just, instead of analyzing all the statistics here on the show and throwing numbers at everybody, just overall, how is the defense doing so far through this year?
Great. I love splash plays. To me, that's what makes the defense great, is takeaways and sacks. And if you can affect the quarterback, this is a quarterback-driven league. The more you can affect the quarterback, hurt him, get him on the ground, rattle him, make his day awful, pick him off, that was what was missing from last year's defense.
You sound just like me.
Well, I know. That's why you're my favorite player. Because you did a lot of that, Rondé, you know. And so to me, I think that's the thing. 15 sacks in the last the last 3 games, 25 sacks this season. We're now seeing an average of about 2 takeaways per game. And the offense is cooperating by not turning the ball over. So you have that plus turnover margin, which we talked about. That to me is everything. And I think that's been the recipe for success. The games they haven't had that, they've lost. I mean, that's kind of the common denominator.
Right.
The big takeaway for me, and I think it's good for not just this year, but some years to come now, is you have multiple playmakers in the secondary.
Yes.
It's not just
It's
Antoine
been a while.
Winfield.
Right?
That's right.
It's been a while.
I like to think of Antoine Winfield, Tyke Smith, and
Yep.
Jacob Parrish.
Yes.
Who's had a phenomenal rookie season. And all those guys you can reasonably count on to make a big play.
Yes.
And maybe one of them the last game was Antoine Winfield.
Yeah.
But Jacob Parrish had a sack and Tyke had some tackles for
That's
loss.
right.
And I love the way Rondé and I were talking about it because I'm trying to go to school before we got on, and I'm saying we played a lot of single high safety in that New Orleans game, and I know New Orleans isn't the toughest opponent of all time, but I asked Ronnie, do you think that's how Todd wants to play? Because and you agreed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because if you have one of those two, and either guy can be your center fielder,
That's right.
The other guy, you can get him up there closer to the line of scrimmage where he can make a lot of plays.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what having a guy like Jacob Parrish, who is in my mind, the first real nickel we've had
Since Murphy Bunting.
probably
really.
since Sean Murphy
Yeah.
Bunting, because everybody else has been a safety trying to convert.
Yep.
And Todd told me this however many preseasons ago.
Yeah.
He wants a guy that can play against the run. Like
Yes.
he's got to be physical. You look at Jacob Parrish, you don't say physical.
Yeah.
You put
He
the
is.
tape on,
He is.
all you see is physical.
Yeah.
Like you said, tackles for losses. Those are like sacks, dude.
They are.
They
They get you behind the chains.
they're equivalent to a sack, and I can't tell you how many tackles for loss Jacob Parrish has this
He had
year.
back-to-back ones on screen passes.
Yes.
He's
out
so
in
good
the
at
flat.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
He's an ankle biter, and I don't mind that. If you go down there and just wrap the legs, they're not going anywhere.
Yes, come up with a body part, Scott.
right.
That's the way. That's the way I described.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh man, Rondé made a lot of tackles." I just came up with a body part.
Right.
Jacob Parrish is that kind of
Goes for the
football player,
ankles.
right?
Take him away.
And then you add Tyke. So I know everybody likes to talk about Antoine Winfield Jr. and he should.
Yeah.
Highest paid safety.
Tyke's a dog.
Tyke might be the most physical player on our
Yes,
defense.
no doubt.
Right? I don't know what his actual numbers are,
Yeah.
but I stand next to him on the sideline and I'm like, dude, this dude is a physical presence, and then you watch him throw like guards and tackles around.
Yeah, he's a dog.
He threw a tackle out of the way and made a tackle
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago. I was like, all right, he's just different.
He brings an edge to the secondary. Like I love Antoine, and I look at the psychology of football a lot. Antoine's smiley, happy,
Yeah.
shiny people, and Zion's the same way. Nice guy in the world. Give me the dog. And you need that. You need to have that fire starter, that dog at different levels of your defense. And
Right.
you guys kind of had that too a little bit.
We had
back in the day,
a lot of that.
Yeah.
We had a lot of angry workers.
Yeah.
Is what we had.
That's
and
right.
it kind of
And-
feels like that's what this secondary is
It's
right
becoming
now.
that, yeah.
Right? You can even say Jamel Dean, who I said was my comeback player of the year last week, got 3 interceptions. Right? He's clearly
pissed.
getting pushed.
pissed. Yes.
From the rookies. From BMO and Jacob Parrish. Like both of those guys could be starters on the outside.
right.
This is the best year that Jamel Dean has had.
And if he's pissed, he's hiding it pretty well because walking around.
Well, he's just a
one
jovial
buck,
guy.
He's just kinda
I mean, he's smiling.
Smiling
I've never
all
seen
the
a
time.
smile not on that guy's face.
Yeah.
Now, if you had told me going into the season that we would be at the bye week and that we would have had, look, there was some promise with David Walker. You have no Kalijah Cansey.
Yeah.
And also, too, you don't have Hassan Reddick right now. So a lot of key pieces missing, and the defense clearly is holding their own.
So that's funny you say that because Scott and I were talking about this before we got on, and it's a tenet of a Todd Bowles defense. They're interchangeable spots.
Yeah.
Right? Like he'll call a defense, and I could pull up the calls, I could tell you what they are, but he'll call a defense, and it's not necessarily for the nickel or for the linebacker or for the edge guy. It's like you could put anybody in any of those positions. It's why everybody on the team gets a chance to rush the passer, which is really fun to watch.
15 players have at least half a sack.
Half a sack.
And 7 have at least 2.
Yes. 7 have at least 2. Like last week, Jacob Parrish got hurt, or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, Jacob Parrish got hurt, and Zion McCollum went inside to play nickel. And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that. Scott, obviously, the intrepid Bucs reporter who's always there and sees everything. He's like,
Hit
oh,
the
yeah.
applause button for Scott.
He took snaps in there. But the way the defense didn't change.
That's right.
Like, he just went in and played the spot, right? And then BMO went out to corner. Benjamin Morris went out to corner. And, he blitzed. He played in the flat. He played half field. And it's just like whoever can play any one position can play any position in Todd's defense. I think that's probably why we're seeing so much success with this defense this year, because they understand it.
Well, and I think too, it's selfless. How many times now Servatier Dennis has got 2 sacks on the season, but how many times has he been the guy? And go back to the Seattle game. He was the first guy through. He's a linebacker. He's closest to the ball, right? His job was to occupy the blocking back to allow Winfield to come in free on that weak side blitz to affect the pass that was picked up by Levante David.
Right.
And it's like when you have selfless players that know that they're going to get theirs, they're going to get their blitz dialed up. But in this role, Levante, you've got to occupy the blocking back, or we're gonna fire zone, and you got to take on the guard, Levante, right? And it's like these guys don't care. It truly is a locker room that is all for one and one for all. And I give Todd Bowles credit. I've covered this team for 30 years. Tony Dungy, John Gruden, even Bruce Arians, 3 best coaches of all time. Their locker room was not as tight and as rowing in the same direction as this one. And that is a direct reflection on Todd Bowles.
Right.
And that's a perfect segue, because I want to get into coaching.
Right.
And just overall, let's just really quickly gloss over this, because it is a section here that we have on our State of the Bucs show.
Yeah.
Coaching, how State of the Bucs. Just talk to me about overall how the coaches are doing in that locker room and how the performance is.
Scott Smith, you've been quiet.
Yeah.
Well, I would start with the offensive line guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, God.
What they've had to work through.
Yeah.
Right.
With, I'm blanking.
On
Our
Kevin
coaches.
Carberry?
Kevin
Yeah,
Carberry
Kevin,
and Piccolo.
I was like, where are you going?
I was trying to. Those guys have done a phenomenal job.
Carbs is the Carberry.
He's a guru.
He might be the best offensive line coach in football. I mean, he had our starting center. Granted, he played tackle in college.
Yeah.
Moved him out to tackle. Moved this guy to
Bredesen
to center.
Michael Jordan off the practice squad.
Practice
at left
squad.
guard. Yeah.
Right, like flawlessly.
Yes.
Like no other team. I don't think a team. I don't know that I've seen a team ever do that.
I know.
Move your center to left.
Yeah, just that type of movement.
A little tangent here. Think about the draft value that the Buccaneers got out of both Luke Gedeke and Graham Barton.
Yes.
You drafted them to play left guard and center respectively.
Yes.
And you end up with a really good right tackle that you got in the second round, and you got a center who's good that if you need him to, he can play left tackle.
Yeah. Right.
That's incredible
invaluable.
return from
Yes.
those draft picks.
That's Jason.
That just
Light.
doesn't happen.
That's Jason Light and his group finding guys. Well, first of all, we're talking about coaches, so you have to draft guys that fit into the culture.
Yes.
Guys that love football.
Yep.
We talk about this all the time
It's a must.
on this show, and every show, and every time you talk about the Bucs, they've drafted guys that care about football.
Yeah.
They're not ever going to be like, I don't know what's the polite word to say.
They're not selfish players.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they're just not going to be like asses.
They're not
you know what I mean?
malcontents,
Yes.
right.
Yes. They're not malcontents.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for giving me the word that I was
Yeah.
looking for. The polite word
Right.
that I was looking for. I was going to use a word that we're going to have to bleep out of the show.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
but the locker room, because of the way they've drafted, the type of player that
Yes.
they've drafted.
They assimilate.
Yes, it allows you to do what we're talking
Yeah.
about. So to me, it's about coaching, yes, but it's also about how this team has been assembled. So Jason.
Oh,
That's
you
right.
want the applause
Give me
button?
the
Here it
applause
is.
button.
Applause button for Jason Light.
There's a reason this team wins.
Yes.
And it's because of the way that this roster is constructed.
I'm going to give Todd Bowles an awful lot of props because he's had to do a couple things this offseason. And I told him, I love everything that you've done this offseason, and it's paying dividends now. He identified the need we need ball hawks, right? We need guys with instincts that can actually go make plays. And part of that was getting Tyke Smith from the 70 to 75% play snap to 100% by moving him to strong safety. Jordan Whitehead was an absolute failure last year. It just didn't work out. He came back. There were high hopes. He was not the same guy, right? This is a huge upgrade because now, to Scott's point, you have 2 interchangeable playmaking safeties. It can be either one of those guys' day every single week, right? But with Todd Bowles, part of it was game management. We saw the atrocious clock management, game management, flag throwing usage, when to call the timeouts. He never would call a timeout in the first half. A lot of game management type problems. And that's not uncommon when you are not a walk-around coach, when you're an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. It's hard to do both. But I give him so much credit for identifying that, knowing that he had to get better, and he goes out and gets Zach Beislein.
Right.
And it's not like Zach Beislein is is there to whisper in his ear what to do on game days. Todd, you're going to want to call the timeout now. No, they've spent time together in the offseason going through scenarios, watching all of last year's game film. In this situation, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Now, what should you have done? Right? And he's getting coached up.
Right.
And I can't remember any particular instance where I've disagreed with the timeout usage, not calling a timeout here, game strategy,
using and running the clock.
Yes,
like knowing like time's going to run out on the other team.
Exactly.
We're going to. I noticed that.
He's gotten better. In that
I noticed
area.
that in the preseason.
Yes,
but like irrelevant, meaningless games.
Yes,
not for us because
right.
Chris Myers and I called that on WFLA.
That's right,
your official Bucs station.
Yeah.
But I noticed it then.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to Jason. I was like, "Where did Zach come from?" Zach came from Jacksonville.
Yep.
Like. They took Liam. We took Zach.
Yeah.
we got the better deal,
swap,
and we got the
least.
better deal of it because of how we've managed games.
Yes,
I see it every single week now. How we manage games, going into half specifically.
Yes,
trying to steal possession, trying to make sure that they don't get a chance to steal a possession.
Yeah.
Like those things matter at the end of the day, and that's all Zach.
We're 8 games in, and that has not been an issue.
Yes, right.
I'm keeping score here. I think that Scott now has given singled out Todd Bowles for praise. I think 3 times on this show that it's a Todd
Coach of the Year candidate.
It's a Todd Bowles love fest in here. And you know what Todd Bowles has to say about that?
It's exciting.
It's exciting. It's exciting if you're Todd Bowles. Because we have an hour-long program here and we have to keep things moving. One thing I really want to bring up here is we're talking about coaching in the front office. We're just, of course, coming off of the trade deadline and, of course, crickets from the Buccaneers. So as we look at the significant lack of moves from the Bucs, there wasn't a ton. I mean, obviously, we were going to talk about the blockbusters here in just a moment, a little bit later on in the program. But surprised, not surprised by the Bucs not making that move that was going to, add a reinforcement or two on both sides of the ball.
I don't think
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised nor disappointed.
Do we have
correct.
any significant midseason trades in our?
There's one.
Steve McClendon.
Steve McClendon. That's it.
That's the last
2020
one.
Super Bowl.
And he helped.
Right.
Yeah, he helped because Vita was down.
Right.
Why is that? Why did the Bucs always sit on the sidelines during this time of year?
It's not just you'd love to add guys, but it's how much it costs, and that's very important to Todd. Like Jalen Phillips, I think Jalen Phillips is a great player.
Yeah.
And it's a position we could use help at. And it's a position where you don't have to displace somebody because it's a rotational position. So you could just add him to the mix. Would I love to have Jalen Phillips? Yeah. He went for a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah.
Do you want to give up Jacob Parrish?
Jacob Parrish, Tyke Smith, Jalen McMillan, even day 3 picks. Jason Light looks at 4th-rounders like Bucky Irving, Kate Otten. 5th-rounders, that's Zion McCollum. That's Elijah Roberts. That's Sebastian Dennis. 7th-rounder now. He could sit there and say, man, that's Tez Johnson. He has been on such a heater with Mike Greenberg, Rob McCartney, Mike Beal. That whole front office, they're on such a heater with the draft. And the thing is from the salary cap perspective, shout out you, Mike Greenberg, you're getting with a 3rd-round pick, you're getting a potential starter for 4 years on a rookie deal that helps your salary cap, that helps you re-sign the Luke Gedekes, the Mike Evans, the Baker Mayfields, all those type of guys. Whereas with Jalen Phillips, you acquire him, and I think he's either in a contract year or that's next year.
It's his contract year.
Yeah, he's going to have a massive cap hit, so then you're tied to him whether he performs well or not.
Right. And you have the option of losing him if he
give up a
then you're
3rd-round
renting
pick.
a player.
Then you're renting a player. So to answer your question, JB, that's why we don't go to work like that.
No one in this entire building at WFLA, no one that I heard from was ever expecting there to be a trade. It was just expected to be, a whole lot of nothing.
Right.
As we move on to a little bit of the rest of the program here in just a moment, as we wrap up our State of the Bucs, I'm going to put everyone here on the spot. With the State of the Bucs, give me a word. A word right now, one singular word that describes where the Bucs are right now as a franchise midway through the 2025 NFL season. Who would like to go first? Resilient. Interesting.
Sorry.
Great
minds think alike, Scott.
That's a great.
Great minds think alike.
Right, I mean,
That's the word for the season.
I think 4 seconds. Scott Reynolds had the word resilient. That's pretty good. You got one already?
Oh, Scott. I'm waiting for Scott. I got to finish. It's my show. I got to be the last one. By the way, my AI camera's not working. Come on, AI.
It's gone purple on you.
It's gone purple.
Throw up a hand. It'll find you. Hold on.
Whatever.
I don't know. I think I'll go back to what I was saying at the very beginning of the show, and for the remainder of the season, I think resilience is the perfect word so far, and we're going to need that. But I'm feeling uncertain. I gotta be honest. I don't know how how each game's gonna go. Mm-hmm. You know, last year we would have known, like Scott said, we're gonna go out there and score 30 points. So I guess it's entertaining.
Yeah,
That's a great one.
great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scrappy is the one I'm going to use.
Yeah.
Scrappy. Why scrappy? Tell me.
Because
that was you, Rondé.
Because
Scrappy.
this team easily could be 3-5 right now. Mm-hmm. They easily could have
Say
watched
that about a lot of teams.
right.
Yeah.
But in order to be 6-2, you got to be scrappy, and we found ways to win games when they didn't look like we were going to win them.
You know what else they've done though is they've won the games they should have won.
That's right.
And look at Green Bay.
Yeah,
Losing to Carolina, losing to Cleveland.
Yep.
They're not winning. They should be
Yeah.
in first place in the NFC.
Win the
Buccaneers
winnable
beat
games.
New
That's
Orleans.
right.
I'll just remind
They
us
kinda beat the
that
Jets.
it did not look like we were going to win the Jets game at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And we won that game.
It's fluky.
I mean, it was what it was.
Yeah.
You only play.
We
the games-
dominated most
You only
of that
play the
game.
games that are on your schedule.
We dominated most of that game.
Got to win them all.
And the word I'll throw out there, thrilling, only because I think there have been some real great football games the first half
Yeah.
of the season.
Yeah, they've been
the one
fun.
in Seattle was I was losing my mind, losing my
Yes.
voice, screaming at the top of my lungs, having fun watching that game. The Bucs are a fun football team. Speaking of fun, we're going to talk about the NFL trade deadline when the Rondé Barber Show returns.
You're watching the Rondé Barber Show, sponsored by Renewal by Andersen, superior products, exceptional service, and by Advent Health, the exclusive hospital of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here's 16-year NFL star Rondé Barber, and a man you don't want to let bake, J.B. Buno.
Oh my goodness, I can't bake. How does this guy know so much about my personal life? I genuinely have these questions.
Oh, my
Welcome back
God.
to the Rondé Barber Show, the State of the Bucs episode here with Rondé Barber. We've got, of course, Scott Reynolds, Scott Smith joining us here in the Stream Center.
Scott Barber. You got my name wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
so
changed
Scott
my name.
Barber.
I changed my name. By the way,
Scott
Bucks.
Barber will change.
You're an honorary Scott now.
Yeah, I'm an honorary Scott. Bucks 3-point win at the Falcons, 1-point win at the Texans, 2-point win at home versus the Jets, 6-point loss to the Eagles, 3-point win versus the Seahawks. The one game where we felt really good, I thought, was 49ers. They handled that team pretty well.
Yeah.
Get blown out by the Lions, and then blow out the Saints.
Yep.
That's a scrappy schedule
And entertaining.
and
It
entertaining.
has been. It's been
Right.
really entertaining football.
Right.
Bucs fans getting their money's worth. Jets fans are not getting their money's worth. let's just get right to it.
Yeah.
It's a fire sale in New York for the Jets, sending, of course, Sauce Gardner. That was the big blockbuster yesterday, the unexpected move that shocked everybody, to the Colts, who look unbelievable, by the way. But also...
Until they lost to the Steelers, like I called.
Yeah. No. Credit where credit is due. Credit where credit. We'll get into our pick six segment here in just a second. But Scott was talking about it. I have to say, Scott Smith. Scott Smith was talking about it. The value that you have to. I mean, my goodness, Sauce Gardner, 2 first-rounders, and A.B. Mitchell out of Indianapolis, and then of course Queen Williams also getting sent to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Just your makeup, your assessment of the trade deadline and the moves that were made.
So we were talking about this, and in teams, if you're a Bucs fan from afar and not understanding what we just talked about why we don't make these moves, you're looking at all these contenders go out and try to wrap up some players that we're going to help them win this year. They're going to rent these players, right? If you will, for this year. Some of them would probably be long term. I mean, Sauce is not going to leave Indy next year, right? He'll
Quentin Williams will be in Dallas for a couple of years.
Right? So like you watch these contenders go out and try to chase a championship by making these draft moves or these trade moves, and that would be disconcerting if I was a Bucs fan and didn't understand why we don't make those moves.
Right.
Because we could definitely use some players, right?
Yeah, sure. But at what cost?
But at what cost?
The thing that I look at with the Jets, now they've got all this cadre of draft picks, right? All these first-round picks. It's like, but you got worse as a football team.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to use those first-round picks to get players as good as the players you just traded away.
It's like they can just continue to kick the can down the
Exactly.
just kick it down the road.
I look at it as
somewhere.
like, are you going to find another Sauce Gardner in the draft? You better with one of those. Or you can find another Quinton Williams. You better. And are they going to be as good as Sauce and Quinton are right now for you next year?
Right.
So, I mean, it's a big gamble when you're in rebuild mode to literally give away your best players in your prime because you're not getting better. you're going to have to use those picks to at least get back to where you were, which isn't very good. And then you're going to have to add on to that somehow, some way. And you better be really good at drafting in New York.
I'm going to disagree a little bit on this one.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the Jets as they are now, and they have an offensive line that they've invested a lot in and should be good. They have Breece Hall is good. Mm-hmm. Garrett Wilson is good.
Yeah.
They have the makings. When they brought in Zach Wilson, the quarterback didn't work out.
Right.
And then they started rebuilding with the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have an ecosystem where the next quarterback you bring in, you're ready for him. You're putting him in a good position. And we all know that offense from year to year in the NFL is a lot more static in terms of results than defense, which tends to be a lot more volatile.
Sure.
So what they did was give up assets on defense, and they have 5 first-round picks. And they can, in the next 2 years, and the 2027 draft is supposed to be loaded, they can rebuild that defense pretty quickly, I think. They just have to get the quarterback situation right. And that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
But I think they put themselves in a position where they, of course they're worse this year, but that's fine.
Right.
Where they can be good in a couple of years. And Sauce Gardner, to me, is not Stingley. He's not Patrick Surtain. He's good. He's very good. You want him on your team. But to be able to get 2 first-round picks from him, I just think you can't say no to that.
Right.
Are we in a universal agreement that Sauce Gardner is not worth 2 first-rounders and a wideout?
Same thing they gave for Micah Parsons.
I don't think so. But to kind of wrap up the Jets, if you're a Jets fan, I got a bunch of Jets fans, just friends.
Sorry about that.
They're just in a perpetual state of rebuilding.
Yeah.
It's just constant. So
quicksand.
To your point, yes, it's going to be attractive for whoever comes in, and if they ever get the quarterback right, which that's a whole nother conversation. But if you're a Jets fan,
if they don't, then all of this is for naught.
For nothing. The one team I thought that made the best move was the Eagles. Howie Roseman has zero fear, man.
Yeah.
Like, I need corners. He's got 2 good corners. Mm-hmm. Cooper DeJean and
Quinyon Mitchell.
Quinyon Mitchell,
Yeah.
Great young players,
That's right.
That they got out of the same draft. And yet they still go out and try to find corner help. That and getting Jalen Phillips, I think, was probably the best move of the day.
I think the
yesterday.
Seahawks had the best move.
Getting Rashid.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I think
best move for us.
It's
Get
good.
him out of the division.
Fourth and, I mean, I don't know if they can count on JSN, Jackson Smith, Njigba, providing 50% of their receiving yards the whole season.
That's a fair point.
He's getting so much attention, and eventually they're going to run up against a team with a Surtain that's just going to follow him around, and they're going to have other answers. And, Shaheed isn't the same type of player as DK Metcalf, but he is a guy that can give you the big plays that DK did. So for a relatively low cost, I think they got a piece they really needed. And the Indy trade, to go back to that real quick, this is a team. I think this team, panicked isn't the right word, but they were so affected by this start. This is a team that was legitimately having a quarterback competition between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. Nobody thought Daniel Jones was going to come out and be the best quarterback since Peyton Manning.
Right.
And
you didn't know.
And now they're here like, wait a minute, we actually have a Super Bowl window? Okay, we got to do something.
Yeah, and they got a running back who I think is one of the best in the league.
True that.
And he was the best in the league probably 3 years ago, and then he got hurt for those 2 years. Jonathan Taylor got hurt for those 2 years, and so yes, they're in a realization state right now that we could win now, and that's why they go out and get Sauce. Now, ask me, Sauce does change their defense. He's just not a game changer. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. Changes their defense, but not a game changer.
Well, they needed something.
He doesn't take the ball away, dude.
Right.
My only gripe with Sauce is that he does not take the ball away.
I can't believe I'm defending Sauce Gardner, but isn't there the notion that they're just not throwing his way enough for him to have the opportunity to take away the ball?
They throw it. Like they said the same thing about Revis. Revis took the ball away, dude. Like Revis was special.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying that Sauce won't be special.
Right.
He's not special right now. He doesn't take the ball away.
All right, we got to move on to our Pick Six segment here, where Scott Reynolds, welcome into the Pick Six. Yeah, this is going to be fun.
All right.
And as we talk, as we transition now to our segment here where we're picking games every week.
This is much watch TV right here.
I have a
Put my glasses on.
1 point lead right now over Rondé after, thank God, the Bills beat the
He's
Chiefs.
on a bit of a heater, though. Right?
No, by the way, I've had 2 0-3 weeks.
Okay.
And I'm still only up by 1. It's a slim lead right now, and we're gonna have to go. This is gonna have to be a rapid fire one this week, Rondé. We're gonna have to do a rapid fire. So you want to go first or second? Up to you.
Since I just went 3-0, you can go first.
All right, I'll go first. We're gonna just boom, boom, boom. All right. I don't know why. I don't have a reason, but I think Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, something clicked last week.
Right.
I like the way their offense looked. Obviously, that was a shootout. What a wild game that was, obviously, against the Bengals. Give me the Bears against the Giants. That I just, who knows which Giants team is going to show up there at Soldier Field. My underdog this week, going favorite to underdog now. I don't know how exactly they're the dog as of this Wednesday recording, but give me the Jags on the road at Houston.
Okay.
No explanation needed. I just like that they're the dogs going into Houston. And then, I know I have a checkered past with picking the Bucs.
Buddy. Here we go.
I like the Bucs this week.
I
like the Bucs. Okay.
Jinx.
Here in the presence of Bucs encyclopedias like yourselves, I can't bring myself to pick New England. So those are my picks this week.
All right, I like it.
Rondé, who you got?
I got. I have no idea. I sent these to Rhett yesterday, and I may have been somewhat out of my mind. Rams are going to beat the 49ers.
Okay, I thought about this game too.
The Rams are just they're hot right now. They are what they are. I'm picking the Steelers again to beat the Chargers at the Chargers. I don't know why. The Steelers don't inspire me, really. I mean, the offense stinks.
You must like something about them.
They had, 5 takeaways last week? I'm just going to ride the wave. 6 takeaways.
Yep.
I'm just going to ride the wave. And, of course, it's still not a cold day in hell. I'm picking the Bucs.
Yeah. All right. For our audience, if you've been watching every one of the 16 episodes of the Rondé Barber Show, Rondé has not yet picked against the Bucs. That will certainly be a cold.
Served you well so far.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Day in hell. Yes. Yeah. The Rondé Barber Show will be back with Ask Rondé right after this.
It's time for you to Ask Rondé, sponsored by Advent Health and Renewal by Andersen.
For this week's Ask Rondé question, we're going back to the draft party because our very own employee here at WFLA, Albert Owens, who when he goes into a phone booth and he emerges, he comes out as Buckified Bert, had a perfect question for this week.
And this is Buckified Bert, and I'm so happy to have the opportunity to be on the Rondé Barber Show. Yeah, but here's what I'd like to know from you. Now, you know what we're trying to do in the Buccaneers season. We're going for our 5th division. But at the same time, I want to know from you one thing. Who in our division do you think is going to be the toughest opponent? Who, Rondé? Who do you think is going to be the toughest opponent? Is it Atlanta? Is it going to be the Saints? Or is it going to be the Panthers? I want to know from you.
This is a great question.
And he asked this before the season began, but it's topical now.
This is a great question for what's going on now. But you guys can chime in on this too.
Oh, cool.
It's Carolina.
There's no doubt.
It's
Atlanta, the fighting Dave Canales.
It's certainly not the Saints.
Yeah, right. Rule out the Saints.
Just to rule out the Saints.
Throw them out.
Yeah. Beginning of the year, I would have said Atlanta. I thought Michael Penix was going to have a breakout and it's just not happening.
Nope.
And the defense I know is top 5 rated, in yards.
Yeah.
They can't stop people when they need to. Carolina, Ejiro Evero, and Dave Canales have got both sides of that ball playing well. This running back for Carolina is scary all of a sudden.
Dowdle?
Yeah, Rico Dowdle.
Right.
And the thing, too, is the bully optimism is working in Carolina. Like, he has them believing.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. When you're a young team and you don't know if you're good or bad, and we've seen good Carolina, we've seen bad Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They got waxed by the Bills. They go up to Lambeau. They're a little bit helter-skelter. This feels like a 9-8 team.
Right.
But it also feels like if the Buccaneers are not playing close to their A game, you're going to split with Carolina. And you might be in danger of even getting swept. And if you do that at the end of the season, and injuries would play a role in that,
that's
look
trouble.
out.
That's trouble.
Yeah.
I'm not writing off Atlanta yet.
Yeah.
I know they've been very up and down, but when we played them, I thought they looked really good.
Yeah.
They've had some really, and I still think that offense with Michael Penix and all those weapons around him, has the capability of reaching a new level.
That's the thing about Atlanta. All those weapons on offense. If they play, we talked about complimentary football earlier in the show. If they ever figure out how to play complimentary football, Atlanta is going to be dangerous. But I still think it's Carolina because they can play defense.
Let me put you on the spot here, all three of you. Fact or fiction game, real quick. Of course, the final opponent for the Bucs this regular season is the Panthers at home at Raymond James Stadium. Fact or fiction, the Bucs will be playing that game for the division.
Ooh.
Shouldn't
Fiction.
be.
Should not be.
I would say fiction.
I'm going to say fiction.
Shouldn't be. Yeah.
All fiction.
I'm going to say fiction.
We wrap it up a week or two before that.
I agree.
Okay.
I love it. All right, I got to draw a name.
You got to draw a name.
All right, here we go. Hopefully I get to
an easy to pronounce name this week.
Name.
Maybe, just maybe.
All right.
Drum roll.
What is the winner getting? Ooh, this one's pretty good. 50 season pennant.
Okay.
I
There it is.
put that
50th season pennant.
And it's Scott's favorite drink. His name is Tito Torres.
Tito Torres. Actually, I think he was in the queue. Wasn't he in the queue? We know these names because they've asked some great questions over the weeks. Of course, to be entered in to win some signed swag from Rondé Barber, of course, submit a selfie video question to askronde.com, and we just write your name into this.
This beautiful little carousel.
I slipped my name in there when you
Did
were
you?
looking.
Well,
I'm probably not eligible.
Yeah, you are eligible because you're in the viewing area. In the viewing area. Scotts, thank you, man. This was awesome. You guys are great. You
Appreciate
guys know more than I do about Bucs football, which is awesome. So I appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you.
The wealth of knowledge here today. Of course, you can find all the episodes of the Rondé Barber Show on the free WFLA app for your smart TV. Also on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You know, guys, where we are. And also, as always, leave a YouTube comment below. Maybe next week we might take some questions from YouTube. We're thinking about it. So type a question below, man. We love our YouTube audience. We appreciate you. And most of all, yes, we appreciate the two Scotts joining us here for the State of the Bucs episode. The Bucs take on New England this week at Raymond James Stadium. We'll be breaking it down on the next edition of the Rondé Barber Show. See you, everybody. Take care.